Hey guys, tonight we begin with a surprisingly structured tale of love, invention, and the small gestures that turned everyday moments into timeless symbols of romance. Picture this, the bustling streets of ancient Rome, where marble temples gleam under the Mediterranean sun, and every alleyway hums with life. Merchants shout from their stalls, bakers pull fresh loaves from communal ovens, and water sellers weave between citizens, calling out their prices. In this lively setting, not every story is about gladiators, emperors, or war. Some stories are about quiet hearts finding each other in unexpected places, like Lucius and Aelia. Lucius was a skilled mosaic artist, known for decorating the villas of Rome's elite with intricate designs. He spent his days surrounded by colorful tiles and marble fragments, creating scenes that would last for centuries. Aelia, the daughter of a respected scholar, often visited the market near his workshop to buy scrolls, ink, and figs. One morning, as dawn's golden light spread across the forum, their paths crossed. Aelia's basket of figs slipped from her grasp, scattering across the cobblestones. Lucius, startled but quick, bent down to help. Their hands brushed. She laughed softly, he blushed, and from that moment, something delicate began to grow. In a society where many marriages were arranged by families for status rather than affection, romantic love had to find creative ways to blossom. Grand declarations were rare; instead, subtle inventions and quiet gestures carried deeper meaning. And the Romans, inventive as ever, developed beautiful ways to express affection. One of the earliest romantic inventions was the wax tablet love note. Lovers used small wooden tablets coated in wax to write sweet, secret messages. Once written, they sealed them with a personal signet ring, making each message unique and private. Lucius, shy but thoughtful, sent his first note to Aelia this way. He etched a tiny heart beside the words, "For the one who brightened my morning." She received it at the baths, tucked between scrolls, and her face lit up with a blush that her friends immediately noticed. Another beautiful invention was the poser ring, a simple gold band with hidden engravings on the inside. Romans often inscribed short Latin phrases meant only for the wearer. Lucius spent weeks saving his commissions to purchase one. When the time came, he asked the goldsmith to inscribe "Semper Tuus," forever yours. To outsiders, it was a plain ring. But to Aelia, it was a treasure she could keep close, a message only she could read. Romans also thrived in the public baths, surprisingly. These places were more than just for hygiene, they were lively social hubs. People flirted through subtle gestures, a glance across the warm pools, a shared bottle of oil, or even the gift of a perfume vial. Roman perfumers were masters of crafting romantic scents, blending rose, lavender, and myrrh into tiny glass bottles. These perfumes lingered on clothes and skin, a soft reminder of the giver's presence. One evening, Lucius gifted Aelia a small vial wrapped in linen, a fragrance he had chosen carefully, soft and floral, like the spring gardens near the Tiber. She wore it often, and whenever he passed her in the forum, he could smell the faint trace and smile. Lucius also turned his art into secret love letters. In his spare time, he carved tiny marble tokens, doves, intertwined vines, and hearts, inspired by the romantic imagery in Roman frescoes and mosaics. He would leave these along Aelia's daily route, near the bakery, by the scholars' library, under the shade of an olive tree. Aelia began to collect them, storing each token like a treasure in a small wooden box. Each carving became a silent conversation between them, their love growing with every shared secret. Festivals gave them more opportunities. During the Floralia, a festival celebrating flowers and spring, lovers exchanged wreaths of blossoms as tokens of affection. Lucius crafted one himself, weaving roses and violets into a crown and placing it gently on Ilia's head. She responded with a ribbon tied to his wrist, a symbol of her heart. In Rome, romance lived through these thoughtful inventions, each gesture carrying meaning far beyond its physical form. Their bond grew not through dramatic speeches or grand events, but through a tapestry of romantic innovations, from wax tablet strings, perfumes to carvings. The Romans, despite their reputation for power and conquest, understood that love often flourishes in quiet spaces. It lived in stolen glances across crowded forums, in messages etched in wax, in a shared scent that lingers in the air. And in this empire of marble and might, every romantic invention told a story, not of emperors or armies, but of hearts that found each other in the everyday rhythm of Roman life. As Lucius and Ilia's love quietly blossomed, the world around them offered countless traditions that made romance feel like an art form. Ancient Rome wasn't just an empire of stone and conquest, it was a society that carefully wove love into its festivals, beliefs, and daily life. Their inventions weren't just physical objects, they were cultural languages of the heart. One of the most fascinating romantic traditions of Rome was the exchange of tokens during Saturnalia, the festival held each December. Saturnalia was loud, joyous, and chaotic, a time when social rules were temporarily overturned. Masters served slaves, gambling was allowed openly, and people flooded the streets with laughter. But amid the celebrations, lovers exchanged sigillaria, small clay or wax figurines. Some were playful, others romantic, and some carried hidden meanings known only to the giver and receiver. For Lucius and Ilia, Saturnalia became their secret season. He carved her a small figure of Venus, goddess of love, and she gifted him a miniature scroll with a Latin inscription promising eternal loyalty. These weren't expensive gifts, but in Rome, meaning mattered more than material. Another invention that shaped romantic culture was the public inscription, love written in stone. In cities like Pompeii, lovers carved declarations into walls, fountains, and arches. Some were poetic, some cheeky, some deeply heartfelt. These inscriptions gave ordinary Romans a voice, immortalizing their love in places where strangers would walk by centuries later. Imagine Ilia walking through the Forum one morning and seeing, freshly carved on a column near the basilica, for Ilia, whose smile outshines the morning sun. She knew the hand behind those words. It was Lucius's way of making a quiet promise to her, etched into the heart of the city itself. The Romans also turned banquets and feasts into romantic stages. During elaborate dinner parties, couples exchanged coded gestures across the triclinium, the Roman dining couch. A shared cup of wine, a deliberate passing of a fig, or the brush of hands during the serving of bread could speak volumes. The Roman poet Ovid even wrote guides on flirting at the races, feasts, and public baths. His Ars Amatoria, The Art of Love, wasn't just a book, it was a manual on how to use cleverness, elegance, and charm to win someone's heart. For Lucius and Ilia, the local banquet became their playground. A single shared fig under the oil lamps was their private declaration amid the noise. Religion also played a powerful role in Roman romance. Lovers often visited temples of Venus or Juno, bringing offerings to seek blessings for their relationships. People left flowers, small carvings, or written prayers at the altars. Some couples would tie ribbons together and hang them on temple walls, symbolizing their union, a ritual that subtly echoes modern wedding traditions. Lucius and Ilia visited the Temple of Venus one quiet evening. They left behind one of his carved dove tokens and whispered their hopes beneath the goddess's statue, their hands lightly touching in the candlelight. One of the most enduring romantic inventions, though, was the Roman wedding tradition itself, many aspects of which still influence modern ceremonies. Brides wore white tunics and veils, Flowers adorned their hair, and guests threw nuts or grains, an early symbol of fertility and good fortune, not unlike today's rice or confetti toss. The joining of hands, called dextromyunctio, represented the union of souls. These gestures were not just ceremonial, they carried deep emotional meaning that stretched back generations. Even Roman letters and poetry became powerful tools of love. Educated Romans often expressed affection through handwritten scrolls, sealed with wax and delivered by messengers. Love poems were exchanged privately, blending personal emotions with classical elegance. Some poems were direct, others symbolic, but all carried an intimacy that no public act could match. Aelia, inspired by the poets, began writing to Lucius when he traveled briefly to a nearby city for work. Her scroll arrived wrapped in linen, sealed with violet wax, and inside she wrote, "When the moon touches the Tiber, think of me. For my heart follows you beyond the city walls." These words, simple yet powerful, became one of Lucius's most treasured possessions. As their love deepened, they also participated in springtime rituals. During the festival of Perilia, originally dedicated to shepherds and the protection of flocks, young couples would jump together through ceremonial bonfires, believing it would purify their bond and bring blessings. Lucius and Aelia held hands tightly, leaping through the flames under the watchful stars, their laughter echoing like music in the night. Looking back now, what's remarkable isn't just the beauty of these traditions, but how familiar so many of them still feel. Wax-sealed letters became the ancestors of love letters. Posy rings evolved into engraved wedding bands. Floral wreaths transformed into bridal bouquets. Romantic inscriptions became the foundation of love poetry and graffiti art. Perfumes, banquets, public declarations, coded gestures, all these Roman inventions laid the groundwork for how we still express love today. In an empire known for military might and architectural grandeur, these gentle inventions remind us of something timeless: love always finds a way to speak. Whether through carved marble, whispered prayers, or hidden messages in wax, Roman lovers created a language of romance that transcended centuries. So the next time you exchange a ring, send a heartfelt letter, or leave a small surprise for someone you care about, remember, you're echoing a tradition that once blossomed in the bustling streets of ancient Rome, between a mosaic artist and a scholar's daughter, beneath the same stars that still shine above us tonight.